I cannot support House Bill 1168. I'm in opposition. I oppose this House Bill 1168, but I want to explain why. But first of all, I want to say that I support Hunter Education Program. I think it has its value. I think it has its place. And I've done a little research, and I know that this state Hunter's Education Program has been around for a long time. It's really easy to access it. You can go online, you can take the course. Typically, it takes about 10 hours to do the class. They say online it's 2 days. They split it in half, 5 and 5. And then at the end of the course, you take a test, and then it comes with a hunter's license as well. So you're able to get the safety course, you get to take the exam, and then you get a hunting license to be able to hunt in the state of Colorado. I think that's a good thing. And Colorado is known for the hunting that takes place in our state. It's also known for a lot of good things that we do as it relates to open parks and recreation. We have skiing, we have rafting, we have mountain climbing, we have just a whole host of outdoor activities. And it doesn't require you to get a license to participate in the great outdoors. But what I did find out in my research is that most of the people that are hunting in Colorado are from out of state. We have a huge population of people who come from out of state to hunt in Colorado. I also discovered online that we, because I represent the state of Colorado, we are seeing a decline in revenue as it relates to hunting license in the state of Colorado. So this state-funded program that Colorado Parks and Wildlife is providing, they're not seeing the revenue. In fact, the revenue and the license have dropped. I believe that any kind of training involving guns should not take place on school property as curriculum, elective or not. I want to see our schools produce the next chemist, the next scientist, the next architect, the next teacher, doctor, lawyer. If the Department of Parks and Wildlife is having an issue with the lack of people in the state of Colorado buying a hunter's license or getting a hunter's license, why do they need to promote the next generation of hunters in our schools to protect their revenue? That doesn't sound like a good pathway moving forward. It might be a good business model to attract and promote young people to hunt, to address your decline in registration fees as it relates to hunting. But is that the good is that what we really want to be promoting students? I've heard lots of my colleagues talk about, well, this is gun safety. Well, did you read the title of the bill? The bill does not say gun safety. It says public schools hunting education, 7th grade course. Well, we know that's been modified. The bill does not say gun safety. But I can tell you as a common practice in our schools, we have kids that have to do these active shooting drills where they have to hunker either under their desk or in the corner of the classroom. Colorado has not been spared as it relates to mass shootings. not only in our schools, but in our community. The law is clear. Look at the statute. And the statute says that you're not allowed to carry a gun or have possession of a gun, whether it's loaded, unloaded, fake or real. Everybody knows that. You don't bring a gun on school property. But yet, Colorado Park and Wildlife is saying we want to be able to bypass this Colorado law and allow for simulated guns to be in our school to show them how to load, point, and shoot on school property. That could be an elementary school. It could be a middle school. It could be a high school. Now, the law says, you can't even bring them on vocational schools. But the lobbyists approached the bill sponsors and they said, well, we don't want that. So the bill sponsors took out vocational schools. Vocational schools didn't want to have anything to do with it. This bill is unnecessary because, as we heard from other members, is that we are a local control state as it relates to public education. We don't need a statute to tell or to give permission for a school district to do this. They can do it if they want to, but it sends a very mixed message when we put it in statute that says, okay, we have school safety policies that says don't bring gun to school, but yet it's okay if you're a hunter because we have declining sales and revenue because we're trying to create that next generation of hunters. Yeah, I'm okay, but why do we have to put kids in the middle of this? So when I think about Colorado and what's going on nationally, we had Columbine. Columbine, as you know, was a school shooting. I'm trying to think how many students. I think that was 13 were killed in Columbine and 24 was injured. And besides that school, we also had Arapahoe County High School had a shooting. Deer Creek Middle School had a shooting, and Platte County High School had a shooting. Of course, we know about the Aurora Theater shooting, King Soopers shooting in Colorado. And so right now, our students are asking lawmakers, the adults, to take actions to make sure that we're creating safe environments for them in schools. If you have a simulator or a fake gun in a school, the first thing a kid is going to say, that guy has a gun. Somebody has a gun. And when people see guns, they're not going to check to see if it's fake or if it's real. They're going to take cover. They're going to hide. It's unfortunate that our kids are having to do these active shooter drills, but yet we're going to take instructional time. Remember, 10 hours is the minimum. An elective course could be up to a whole semester. We're going to use elective time, credit, course credit, for you to obtain a hunter's license and to get hunter's education. I think that is the wrong approach to be able to use our schools and our kids this way. We have a beautiful state. I talked about it already, and I looked at what people are hunting.
Senator Fields, would you like to go into your second 10 minutes?
I would, Mr. President.
Terrific.
People are hunting elk. They're hunting deer. They're hunting moose. They're hunting bears. They're hunting the bighorn sheep. They're also hunting, maybe you can do rabbits and maybe wild turkeys. There's other things that people hunt. And if fine, go online, take a course, get your hunter's license, and go ahead and shoot and hunt. But to have this training on our school property, when the law clearly states you're not supposed to have a gun, but we do have local control for public education, so there's a way for them to bypass decades and decades of work, 20 years since Columbine. And we want to reintroduce guns in schools to protect the revenue and the reduction of licensors. Let me tell you what's going on. See what's going on. Did you know that in Colorado, we have a high suicide rate, one of the highest in the country? And you know what they're using to commit suicide, especially our boys? It's guns. And you're going to have a certified Colorado Parks and Wildlife instructor teach hunter safety to a kid who may have been depressed or may have been sad too long. Do they understand the red flags in this hunting education class to know that this might not be appropriate for you to be involved with this curriculum, because you might end up committing homicide and suicide? Now, you might know how to shoot and aim and handle a gun safely, which is what the class is all about. But does that instructor really know how to manage a kid that might be using this as an opportunity to ambush or to premeditate a school shooting? Because now you've given him not only the intellect, knowledge to how to handle a gun, they get an opportunity to see how they can do that in their schools in an inappropriate way. Guns are used to commit suicide. The statistics do I have here? Oh, here's one. "91% of deaths in children is based on a firearm." You might come to school and play with one, but when you go home, who knows if that gun is properly stored? You taught them how to use the gun, and they go and they see a gun, and they bring that real gun to school. These are preventable measures, and that's what we should be doing in the state of Colorado. We should be ensuring that we are creating safe environments for our kids. And for me, that means that we should not be using classroom grounds and property involving guns. We need to be protecting our kids from gun violence. Go online. I went online, but I wasn't going to pay it because I'm not interested in hunting. But I know lots of people are. I looked at the numbers. The numbers are very impressive when you look at the overall numbers of people who are hunting. The numbers are strong. We're not the number one state. I think Texas is the number one state. I don't know where we fall, but we're not up there. And we are seeing a decline in hunting within the state of Colorado. And so this is just an easy switch and bait. Let's give our kids guns in schools. Let's teach them how to hunt an animal. And then all the other additional things that the sponsors talked about. Remember, it's a 10-hour course, but they want to include other things that are good content to learn. It's about the hands-on activity and the simulation with the gun that is troublesome to me. That's not what the nation is doing right now. That's not what we should be doing in the state of Colorado. And by saying no on this bill, which is where I stand, doesn't mean that we're going to stop hunter education in the state of Colorado. It's not going to stop, because remember, schools can choose in or out. And this need is already being addressed for families and for kids. If the family and the child wants that, they can explore that, and that can be accomplished. It doesn't have to be done on our school property. So I'm going to close there, Mr. President, and I am urging all of you, for the safety of our kids, that you vote no on this hunter education bill, HB 1169.